Welcome back. Great to have your company. Well, we want to take you back to our top story this morning. It's been confirmed that one man has survived after an Air India flight carrying 242 passengers crashed in the Indian city of Ahmedabad. Yeah, the Boeing 787 Dreamliner took off from the city's airport bound for London Gatwick, crashing moments later south of the runway. More than 200 have been confirmed dead. For more, we're joined now by David Oliver, who's a former head of training at Boeing Australia and a Qantas pilot. Morning to you, David. Thank you so much for being with us. Just want to ask you about this loud noise that the survivor said that they heard just prior to that crash. What could that indicate?
Morning, Mon. Morning, Sherbo. Look, it's very easy to speculate. A loud noise, possibly an engine stall, a compressor stall. But if it's only happened moments before the crash, that would indicate maybe that the engine has had issues prior to the noise. It's very easy to speculate, and passengers' recollections from events or spectators' recollections of events can often be somewhat misrepresented, depending on the stress level they're under. So I take that with a grain of salt. It's just very early in the piece to speculate as to the actual cause. The most likely supposition is that there's been a loss of thrust, a loss of power to one or both engines. The likelihood of both engines suffering a power loss is extremely, extremely remote. So one needs to wait for the flight recorder and voice recorder analysis to take place.
Well, hopefully that will be recovered undamaged. Just take us through, David, as a pilot in this situation. I mean, what could have the pilots have done?
Well, the takeoff, I haven't seen video footage of the actual takeoff, but it appears that the aircraft only climbed a few hundred feet, then levelled off and then began a slow descent, indicating a loss, as I said, a loss of power, a loss of thrust to one or both engines. The thing that strikes me about the video footage is that the landing gear was not retracted. Now, on any takeoff on any aircraft, the first thing that happens after the aircraft is safely airborne, the pilots immediately raise the landing gear. The aircraft will fly with the landing gear down with both engines operating. If one of the engines is at reduced thrust or has lost thrust completely, then it's imperative that the landing gear is retracted. So that's my big question at the moment, is why was the gear not retracted?
Why do you think that is? And I know we're speculating at this point because it is early days, but what would some of those reasons be? The pilot was otherwise, engaged with this Mayday call and something else, or could that be part of a malfunctioning in the engine?
No, it's unlikely that it's a malfunction from an engine perspective. I think if there was an engine failure just at liftoff or shortly after liftoff, then the pilots have been distracted and they have missed a vital procedural call to raise the landing gear. They may have been distracted by the engine malfunction and just lost their concentration. But, I mean, they train in this in the simulator over and over, so it's very hard to understand why the gear was not retracted.
Yeah, so many unanswered questions. David, we really appreciate your expertise this morning. Thanks for your time.
Thank you.